chosen ones. This is not an accident that you are here in this hour, in this season. Your name has been whispered in heaven before the foundations of the earth. You feel the stirring in your spirit because the Eternal is calling you to rise. The question is not if God is speaking. He is. The question is, are you listening? For the call is now, the call is urgent, and the call is written into the very breath you carry. To ignore it is to lose destiny. To answer it is to step into the reason you were born. The call of destiny from the very beginning of time, before the foundations of the world were laid, every chosen one was already known by name. Heaven inscribed your existence in its eternal scrolls long before you ever drew your first breath. You were not born by chance, nor were you placed in this generation by accident. You are here by divine appointment, by a summons that transcends time itself. The call of destiny is not something you create. It is something you discover. It is not a dream you build with your own hands. It is a command that was spoken over your life before your hands even touched this earth. There are countless voices in this world. The voices of fear, the voices of doubt, the voices of distraction, the voices of compromise. But the call of destiny is different. It is the whisper that will not let you rest at night. It is the stirring that moves you when others are still. It is the fire in your bones that refuses to die out, no matter how much the world tries to silence it. That call is the voice of God Himself, reminding you that you were made for more than survival, more than comfort, more than the fleeting illusions of this age. You were made for eternal purpose. The chosen are always marked by a tension between two worlds. On one side is the familiar, the life of ease, the world's approval, the path of least resistance. On the other side is the unknown, the wilderness of obedience. The risk of faith, the journey of surrender. The call of destiny will never allow you to remain in the comfort of Egypt. It will always beckon you toward the promised land, even if it means walking through deserts, facing giants, and enduring the fire of trials. For the destiny of the chosen one is never cheap. It is bought with sacrifice, sealed with faith, and fulfilled only through obedience. Think of the prophets, the apostles, the warriors of old. None of them stepped into destiny by convenience. Abraham was called to leave his homeland. Moses was called to stand before Pharaoh. Esther was called to risk her life for her people. They were all summoned by the same voice. The voice that calls you now, that same voice is not bound by centuries or distance. It echoes still, calling your name, asking you to rise. To ignore it is to turn your back on the very reason you were born. To obey it is to align yourself with eternity. Destiny is not merely about what you do. It is about who you become. It is about transformation. It is about shedding the skin of the old life and putting on the mantle of the new. When the Eternal calls, He does not only give you an assignment. He gives you a new identity. Abram became Abraham. Jacob became Israel. Saul became Paul. Their names were not just labels. They were destinies revealed. And in the same way, your call carries within it a new name, a new nature, and a new fire that the world cannot define nor deny. But here lies the danger. Many hear the call, but few answer. The noise of this age drowns out the whisper. The cares of this world choke the seed before it can bear fruit. Comfort seduces, fear paralyzes, and doubt convinces the chosen to remain silent. Yet destiny waits for no one. Delay is disobedience. Hesitation is surrender. If you refuse the call, you will still live, but you will live beneath the weight of what could have been. The greatest tragedy is not a life cut short, but a destiny never answered. Chosen one, you were not called to blend in with the world. You were called to stand apart. You were not called to echo the voices of men. You were called to be the echo of heaven. The call of destiny requires courage to leave behind what is familiar, to risk being misunderstood, to endure rejection, and to carry a cross. Yet the burden is light because it is yoked to eternity. The call will stretch you, but it will not destroy you. It will test you, but it will also transform you. Every trial is preparation. Every delay is refinement. Every wound is shaping you for the throne prepared for you. You must understand, destiny is not about greatness as the world defines it. It is not about wealth. fame, or applause. It is about obedience. True greatness is simply answering when heaven calls. It is standing where you are sent, even if no one applauds, even if no one understands. The chosen one who kneels in secret obedience is greater in heaven's eyes than the one who conquers empires without God's voice. Your destiny may not look like the world's definition of success, but it will carry eternal weight that will outlast kingdoms, empires, and ages. There is an urgency in this hour. The call of destiny is not for tomorrow, not for when you are ready, not for when conditions are perfect. It is for now. The enemy of your soul will always whisper delay. He will say, wait until you are stronger. Wait until you are older. Wait until circumstances align. But destiny never waits. The Eternal says, now is the time. Now is the hour. Every moment you delay, the enemy gains ground. Every step you take in obedience, the kingdom of darkness loses its hold. The time is short, and the call is clear. Rise, chosen one, for the hour is late, and the world groans for the manifestation of those who will answer heaven's voice. Look within your spirit. You already know the sound of his call. You have felt it in the unrest of your heart, in the stirring of your soul, in the fire that nothing else can quench. Do not silence it. Do not bury it beneath excuses. Do not trade your birthright for the fleeting stew of this world. Answer it, step into it, live it, for in the call of destiny lies the reason you were created, the fulfillment of your purpose, and the joy of hearing one day the words, well done, good and faithful servant. The call of destiny is not just an invitation, it is a command. It is the voice of eternity breaking into time, calling you by name. It is the reminder that you were chosen before you even knew you were alive. You are not here to wander aimlessly, not here to waste your days in pursuit of shadows. You are here to be a living flame, a witness of heaven, a vessel of light in an age of darkness. Answer the call, chosen one, for your destiny is waiting, and the one who called you is faithful to complete it. The voice in the wilderness, there is a sound that echoes through the ages, a voice that does not fade with time, a voice that cannot be silenced by kingdoms, empires, or the noise of this world. It is the voice in the wilderness. It does not always thunder from mountaintops. Sometimes it comes as a whisper that pierces the soul more deeply than any storm. It does not always appear in the splendor of fire or the majesty of clouds, but in the stillness of the heart, in the secret places where no one else can hear. The voice in the wilderness is the voice of God, calling his chosen ones to awaken, to return, to rise. The question is not whether he is speaking. The question is whether his people are listening. The wilderness has always been the meeting place between God and his chosen. When Israel left Egypt, they were not led first into the promised land, but into the wilderness, where the Eternal spoke his law and revealed his glory. When the prophets sought the presence of God, they often found themselves outside the city, away from the noise of crowd, in barren lands where only heaven's whisper could sustain them. Even the greatest forerunner, the one who prepared the way, cried out not from palaces or temples, but from the wilderness, declaring, make straight the way of the Lord. The wilderness strips away distractions. It silences counterfeit voices. It confronts the chosen with the raw presence of God, unfiltered and undeniable. But here lies the tension. The world despises the wilderness. The world craves noise, busyness, distraction, endless movement. It fears silence because in silence truth is revealed. Yet for the chosen, the wilderness is not a curse but a gift. It is in the wilderness that you learn to discern the difference between the voice of God and the voice of the world. It is in the wilderness that your ears are tuned to the frequency of eternity. You cannot hear heaven's whisper while drowning in the noise of men. To truly hear, you must step away, be willing to be set apart, willing to be misunderstood, willing to be alone. The voice in the wilderness does not flatter, it convicts. It does not promise comfort, it commands obedience. It does not echo the applause of men, it declares the will of God. This is why so many avoid it. To hear that voice is to confront the truth about your life, your choices, your destiny. It strips away illusions, it exposes idols, it reveals what you have been clinging to that cannot save you, and yet it is in that confrontation that you find freedom. For the voice in the wilderness does not call to destroy you, it calls to deliver you. It calls you out of slavery, out of compromise, out of the noise of Egypt, into the silence where heaven speaks. Consider Elijah. When he fled into the wilderness, broken and afraid, he expected God's voice to come in earthquake, fire, and wind, but the Eternal was not in any of these. Instead, he came in a gentle whisper. That whisper changed everything. That whisper gave direction, purpose, and strength. In the same way, the chosen must learn to hear not only the dramatic manifestations of God, but the still, small voice that moves more powerfully than thunder, for it is not the volume of the voice that transforms, it is the truth within it. Chosen one, understand this. The wilderness seasons of your life are not wasted. They are the proving grounds of your faith. They are where heaven trains your ears to listen, your spirit to obey, your heart to trust. When doors close, when friends vanish, when the noise of the crowd is stripped away, it is not abandonment, it is preparation. It is the Eternal drawing you to a place where only His voice matters, and in that place you will find clarity that the world cannot give and peace that circumstances cannot steal. But the danger of this age is deafness, not physical deafness, but spiritual. The Scriptures warn again and again, "He who has ears, let him hear." Why such a warning? Because it is possible to have ears and yet not listen, hear words but not perceive truth. The distractions of this world, the endless noise of entertainment, media, and false voices have dulled the hearing of many. The call of the chosen is to be different, to guard your ears, to silence the noise, to tune your spirit to the eternal frequency of God's whisper. For those who cannot hear cannot obey, and those who cannot obey cannot fulfill destiny. The voice in the wilderness does not merely call individuals, it calls generations. When it cries out, it is not only for your personal journey, but for the times in which you live. It declares urgency. It warns of judgment. It announces redemption. It is the same voice that prepared the way for deliverance in Egypt, the same voice that thundered at Sinai, the same voice that cried out before the Messiah appeared. And it is the same voice calling now in this late hour of history, summoning the chosen to rise, to repent, to prepare the way of the Lord once more. If you would hear this voice, you must be willing to leave the crowd. You must be willing to walk into the wilderness, into prayer, into fasting, into consecration, into the silence where the Eternal waits. You must be willing to be misunderstood by those who cannot hear. For those who live by noise cannot understand those who live by the whisper. But chosen one, it is in that whisper that the world is changed. Great movements of God have always begun not in palaces but in deserts, not in councils but in caves, not in noise but in silence. And yet hearing is not enough. To hear without obeying is to mock the voice. The voice in the wilderness is not for information, it is for transformation. When heaven speaks, it requires response. When the Eternal calls your name, it is not so you may admire the sound. It is so you may rise and act. The chosen one who hears but does not obey is like Israel who heard at Sin, I but rebelled in the wilderness. The call is not simply to listen but to live by the word spoken. For only those who obey will see the fullness of the promise. Chosen one, the voice is calling even now. It is crying out above the noise of the world, above the distractions of your life, above the fears in your heart. It is saying, come away, listen, obey. Prepare, do not harden your heart, do not delay. The wilderness is not meant to destroy you but to transform you. The voice is not meant to condemn you but to awaken you. The question is not whether God is speaking. He is. The question is, will you silence the noise long enough to hear? And once You hear, will you answer? For the voice in the wilderness is not just a sound, it is a summons. It is the cry of heaven calling you to step into your destiny, to leave behind the noise of Egypt, to rise as a chosen one who walks not by the voice of men, but by the whisper of God. Answer it now. The hour is late, the wilderness is calling, and eternity is waiting for your response. The crossroads of obedience, every chosen one eventually stands before a crossroads, a place where two paths diverge. One is wide, familiar, lined with comfort, approval, and compromise. The other is narrow, rugged, costly, and marked by surrender. This is the crossroads of obedience, the place where destiny is either embraced or forsaken. For obedience is not merely about hearing the voice of God, it is about answering it. It is about aligning your life with His Word even when everything in you wants to resist. It is about saying yes when the world demands a no, and no when the world offers its yes. The scriptures are filled with moments where chosen ones were brought to this sacred crossroad. Abraham stood at it when he was told to leave his father's house and journey to a land he had never seen. Moses stood at it when God commanded him to face Pharaoh, though he felt unworthy and unprepared. Esther stood at it when she was called to risk her life before the king to save her people. Each of them could have chosen the path of safety, but obedience demanded sacrifice, and it was only through obedience that destiny was fulfilled. The crossroads of obedience is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is quiet, hidden in the daily choices no one else sees. It may be the choice to forgive when bitterness feels justified. It may be the choice to remain pure when temptation surrounds you. It may be the choice to stand firm in truth when everyone else bows to lies. These small obediences are the seeds that grow into great destinies. For if you cannot obey in the little, you cannot be trusted with the great. The narrow road is built on small steps of faithfulness, but obedience will always cost you something. It may cost you relationships, reputation, comfort, or security. The world does not applaud obedience to God. It resists it, mocks it, and persecutes it. Yet obedience is not about pleasing men. It is about pleasing the one who called you. At the crossroads, the world will tempt you with compromise, whispering that you can follow God without sacrifice, that you can serve Him without surrender. But that is a lie. True obedience always requires laying something down, always requires leaving something behind, always requires trusting Him more than yourself. The chosen one must learn that obedience is greater than understanding. Too often we wait to obey until we understand every detail, until we see the outcome, until we know the cost. But God does not reveal the whole path before you take the first step. He simply says, go. Obedience is stepping when you cannot see, trusting when you do not understand, surrendering when you do not feel ready. It is in that blind obedience that faith is born, and faith is the key that unlocks destiny. Consider the moment when Peter was called to step out of the boat. Logic told him it was impossible. Experience told him he would sink, but the voice of the Messiah said, come. At that moment, Peter stood at the crossroads of obedience. Had he stayed in the boat, he would have remained safe but ordinary. By stepping out, he became part of a miracle that history still remembers. So it is with you at every crossroad. The safe path keeps you ordinary, but the obedient path makes you extraordinary. Yet many falter at the crossroads. Fear whispers louder than faith. The unknown appears too risky. The cost feels too high, and so they settle for less, trading eternal destiny for temporary comfort. They may still call themselves chosen, but they live beneath the fullness of their calling. The tragedy of disobedience is not only what you lose, but what others lose because you failed to answer. For obedience is never just about you. It is about those who are waiting on the other side of your yes. Think of Jonah. He stood at the crossroads when commanded to go to Nineveh. His disobedience brought storms, danger, and despair not only upon himself, but upon those around him. Only when he surrendered to obedience did salvation come to an entire city. In the same way, your obedience carried ripple effects far beyond your own life. There are people waiting for your yes. There are destinies connected to your obedience. To say no is to rob the world of what heaven intended to give through you. The crossroads of obedience is also the place where idols are revealed. For whatever you are unwilling to surrender has become your God. If God calls you to give up a relationship, a possession, a dream, or a fear, and you refuse, then that thing has more authority over you than He does. Obedience is not partial, it is total. The Eternal does not ask for part of your heart. He asks for all. Anything less is disobedience disguised. Chosen one, understand this. Obedience is the proof of love. Words are easy, songs are abundant, promises are cheap. But love is revealed in obedience. The Eternal said, "If you love me, keep my commandments." The chosen who obey even when it costs everything are the ones who truly love, and in that love there is no loss, for every sacrifice made in obedience is multiplied in reward. Every tear shed in surrender is stored in heaven. Every step of faith is written in eternity. At the crossroads you may feel weak, afraid, or unworthy. But obedience is not about your strength. It is about His. The Eternal never calls you to something He does not empower you to do. His grace is sufficient. His Spirit is your strength. All He asks is your yes. Once you surrender, His power carries you through. The weight of obedience does not rest on your shoulders. It rests on His faithfulness. And yet the time is short. The hour is late. The crossroads of obedience is not a place you can linger forever. To delay is to decide. Every moment of hesitation is a step down the wrong path. Do not wait for a more convenient time. Do not wait until fear subsides. Do not wait until you feel ready. Obey now, for now is the only moment you are promised. Chosen one, you stand today at the crossroads of obedience. Heaven is watching, destiny is waiting, and the voice of God is calling your name. One path leads to safety but emptiness. The other sacrifice but fulfillment. One path ends in regret, the other in eternal reward. The decision is yours, but remember this, your destiny is hidden in your obedience. Do not miss it. Do not forfeit it. Choose the narrow way. Choose the costly way. Choose the way of surrender, for in the end, crossroads of obedience is not a burden but a blessing. It is the place where heaven meets earth, where purpose meets action, where faith becomes sight. It is the place where ordinary lives are transformed into extraordinary testimonies. And when you stand before the Eternal at the end of your journey, it will not be the applause of men that matters, but the words, "Well done." That reward belongs to those who chose obedience when it cost them everything. So rise, chosen one. The crossroads is before you. The voice has spoken. The choice is now. Step into obedience, for your destiny, your legacy, and your eternity depend on it. The seal of separation, every chosen one carries a mark, not written in ink, not carved in stone, but imprinted upon the soul. It is the seal of separation. From the moment God sets His hand upon you, you are no longer your own. You are no longer permitted to walk in the ways of the world, to blend in with the multitudes, to follow the patterns of those around you. You are set apart, consecrated, sealed. This is not a punishment but a privilege, though it often feels like both. For the seal of separation is both a crown and a cross, a distinction that brings glory but also warfare. From the beginning, God has always marked His chosen. Israel was sealed through covenant, circumcision marking them as distinct from the nations. The priests were sealed by the anointing oil, consecrated for holy service. The prophets were sealed by the fire of the word, unable to remain silent, though the world hated them. Even in the last days, the chosen are described as sealed upon their foreheads, distinguished from those who bear the mark of the beast. The seal of separation is the eternal evidence that you belong not to the world, but to the kingdom, yet the world cannot understand this seal to them. It looks like loss, restriction, or rejection. They see you refuse to bow to idols, and they call you stubborn. They see you reject compromise, and they call you rigid. They see you walk alone, and they call you strange. But what they do not see is that the hand of heaven rests upon you. What they do not understand is that your separation is your protection. Your consecration is your covering. Your distinction is the proof that you are chosen. The seal of separation will cost you. It will separate you from crowds, from friendships, from applause. It will place you in the wilderness when others enjoy Egypt's feasts. It will strip away comforts, and at times it will feel like loneliness. But chosen one, hear this. Your separation is the very thing that preserves your destiny. The world cannot handle the fire you carry, nor can it comprehend the assignment on your life. If you were allowed to blend in, you would lose the very power that sets you apart. You are different because you are called. You are set apart because you are marked. Consider Joseph. He bore the seal of separation when his brother despised him, when he was thrown into a pit, when he was falsely accused, when he languished in prison. To the world he looked abandoned. Yet the seal upon him preserved him for the palace, positioned him to save nations. Consider Daniel, who bore the seal when he refused to bow to idols. Even at the threat of lions, his separation brought him into the den, but it also brought him into favor with kings. Consider the disciples who bore the seal when they left everything to follow the Master. Their separation cost them their lives, but it also gave them eternal crowns. The seal of separation is not something you can remove. Once marked, you cannot return to what you were. You may try to blend in, but the world will still sense that you do not belong. You may try to silence the call, but the fire will still burn within. You may try to compromise, but your spirit will remain restless. The seal will not allow you to settle. It will push you out of places where you do not belong, strip away relationships that are not ordained, and close doors that are not aligned. It will seem cruel, but it is mercy. The Eternal loves you too much to let you waste your destiny in comfort. But here lies the test. Will you embrace the seal or resist it? Too many spend their lives fighting their separation, yearning to be like the world, chasing its approval. They hide their light, dilute their message, silence their distinction. But in doing so, they betray the seal placed upon them. To reject separation is to reject destiny, for the seal is not optional. It is essential. It is the evidence that you are chosen, the sign that you are His. To embrace it is to walk in power. To deny it is to live in weakness. Chosen one, your separation is not random. It is strategic. It is not meant to shame you. It is meant to shape you. When God pulls you away from crowds, it is to draw you closer to Him. When He closes doors, it is to protect you from counterfeits. When He strips away relationships, it is to refine your circle for purpose. Every moment of isolation is preparation. Every season of loneliness is sanctification. Every rejection is heaven's redirection. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. The seal of separation also comes with authority. Those who are set apart carry a weight the world cannot imitate. They speak and atmospheres shift. They pray and heaven responds. They walk and darkness trembles, not because of who they are, but because of the mark they bear. The seal is the evidence that you are backed by heaven. The world may not honor it, but hell recognizes it. That is why the chosen face such warfare. The seal is proof that they are dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. This is why you must never despise your separation. Do not long to be ordinary when you were created to be extraordinary. Do not envy the world's acceptance when heaven has given you its approval. Do not grieve the friendships you lost when God is preparing connections that align with your calling. Embrace the wilderness. Embrace the consecration. Embrace the fire, for your separation is the guarantee of your destiny. And remember this, separation is never forever. Wilderness leads to promise. Isolation leads to influence. The cross leads to resurrection. Those who are sealed may walk through seasons of solitude, but they will emerge with crowns. Those who are consecrated may suffer rejection, but they will rise in glory. For the seal is not just a mark of separation, it is a promise of fulfillment. It declares that the one who began a good work in you will be faithful to complete it. Chosen one, you are marked, you are sealed, you cannot go back and you cannot blend in. The world may not understand you, but heaven rejoices over you. Embrace your seal, for it is your crown, your protection, your authority, and your destiny. Walk boldly in your separation, for it is the very proof that you belong to God. The urgency of now time is the most precious gift given to man, yet it is also the most wasted. Days slip through fingers like sand, years vanish like smoke, and suddenly what was once tomorrow has become yesterday. For the chosen ones, time is not a luxury, it is a calling. You are not placed in this hour by accident. You are not alive in this generation by coincidence. You are here by design, and the Eternal has assigned you not to yesterday, not to tomorrow, but to now. The call of destiny is urgent. The voice of heaven does not say, wait until you are ready. It says, the time is at hand. The urgency of now is written throughout Scripture. When Noah built the ark, the world thought there was more time. They ate, they drank, they lived in distraction. Yet the flood came suddenly, and only those who heeded the urgency were saved. When Lot lingered in Sodom, the angels pulled him out, for judgment was not delayed. When Israel stood at the edge of the Red Sea, there was no time for hesitation. They had to move forward as the waters parted, for the army of Pharaoh was behind them. Again and again, the message is the same. Destiny is fulfilled not in tomorrow, but in today. Delay is disobedience. Procrastination is rebellion. The call is now, but the tragedy of humanity is the illusion of more time. The enemy of your soul whispers, wait. Tomorrow will be better. Tomorrow will be easier. Tomorrow you will have strength, but tomorrow is never guaranteed. The graveyards are filled with dreams buried under the weight of someday. The chosen one cannot live by someday. You must live by now, for every moment wasted is a piece of destiny lost. Every delay is a door closed. Every hesitation is ground surrendered to the darkness. The urgency of now demands vigilance. The world is growing darker. Truth is being silenced, and deception is spreading like fire. This is not the hour for complacency or compromise. This is the hour to rise, to speak, to act, to shine. You cannot wait for perfect conditions. They will never come. You cannot wait until you feel ready. You never will. The chosen are not called to move when it is easy. They are called to move when it is necessary, and the necessity is now. Chosen one, your calling is not for another era. You were not born in days of Moses, nor in the days of David, nor in the days of Esther, nor even in the days when the Messiah walked the earth. You were born here in this generation because your destiny is tied to this hour. Heaven looked upon the timeline of history and chose this moment for your existence. That means there is something in you the world needs now. Something in you that was designed for the battles of this age. Something in you that cannot wait until tomorrow. The urgency of now requires courage. Fear will always try to hold you back. It will tell you that obedience is too costly, that risks are too high, that failure is too likely. But fear is the language of delay. Faith is the language of now. When David faced Goliath, he did not say, one day I will fight giants. He stepped forward in that very moment. When the woman with the issue of blood pressed through the crowd, she did not wait for a more convenient time. She reached for the hem now. Every miracle, every breakthrough, every destiny fulfilled in Scripture happened because someone recognized the urgency of now. Do not mistake waiting on God for delaying obedience. Waiting on God is active faith, trusting His timing while remaining prepared. But delaying obedience is passive rebellion, using time as an excuse to avoid surrender. The chosen must discern the difference. When God calls you to move, you must move. When He commands you to speak, you must speak. When He tells you to leave, you must leave. When He tells you to rise, you must rise. The Eternal does not waste words, and His commands are not suggestions. They are assignments bound to time. Miss the time, and you miss the blessing. The urgency of now also demands purity. You cannot afford to waste your hours on compromise, distraction, or sin. Every moment given to darkness is a moment stolen from destiny. Every hour wasted in the arms of temptation is an hour stolen from obedience. The chosen cannot live divided. There is no more time for half-hearted devotion, no more time for lukewarm faith, no more time for double-mindedness. Hour is too late, the call too urgent, the mission too critical. You must be fully His, fully consecrated, fully surrendered. Now, look around you, the signs are clear. Nations are trembling, foundations are shaking, deception is rising, hearts are growing cold. The earth itself groans for redemption. These are not ordinary times, these are prophetic times. The urgency is not imagined, it is real. Heaven is aligning events, and you are in the middle of it. Your prayers matter now. Your obedience matters now. Your voice matters now. Do not let the enemy convince you that your role is insignificant. Every chosen one carries weight in the balance of history. Your yes today can shift destinies tomorrow. The urgency of now also carries a warning. If you harden your heart, if you delay your obedience, if you waste the hours given, you will regret it. There will come a day when the door closes just as it did on the ark. There will come a day when the opportunity passes, when the voice falls silent, when the chance is gone. Do not wait for that day to realize what you lost. Obey now while the door is open, while the voice still calls, while grace is extended. And yet, with the warning comes a promise. For those who embrace the urgency of now, there is acceleration. What would have taken years, God can accomplish in days. What was once delayed, He can redeem in an instant. The chosen who rise now will see harvests they did not plant, victories they did not earn, breakthroughs they did not expect. For obedience in the now releases blessings in the eternal. Chosen one, the clock is ticking. Heaven is calling your name. The Spirit is stirring your soul. Do not wait. Do not delay. Do not trade destiny for distraction, eternity for comfort, calling for compromise. The urgency is not for later. It is for this moment. Rise now, speak now, act now, obey now, for tomorrow is not promised, but today is in your hands. And in this moment, in this hour, the Eternal is saying, now is the time. Now is the day. Now is the call. So answer, step forward, embrace the urgency of now. For history is shifting, eternity is watching, and the world is waiting for the manifestation of the chosen ones who will not delay any longer.